Hey, welcome to another episode of GeekOutdoors.com. After having seen the entire first season of Cobra Kai, I could safely say Cobra Kai is back. And the whole series did so many things right. And then it made me think about another series that I cherish, and then one movie in particular, and how I wish it would have done what Cobra Kai did. And that movie is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And so today, I'm going to be talking about my top 5 reasons why Cobra Kai is better than Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Now, this might be controversial, but I really felt like this is what I wanted from Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and that it didn't do that. And so let's go ahead and start with number 5, and that is political correctness is thrown out the window. From the very first episode, when you see Johnny Lawrence and the way he is, the way he was, back in the 80s and up till now, he does not care about things such as genderizing, or calling people out in class, calling kids out, beating up teenagers when they're a-holes. He just does not care what people think. And I love that because it stays true to who the character is. And I'll get into that a little bit further. But whenever I'm watching like Star Wars: The Last Jedi, I always felt like there were these underlying political messages and that really affected the story and the characters. And so that's the first thing. If you are very sensitive and a pansy, then maybe Cobra Kai is not for you. Whereas in Star Wars: The Last Jedi, I felt like they were holding back, okay? So let's go ahead and get to number 4, and that is the story itself makes you want to watch more and rewatch it. This is one of the few series or movies that I actually want to watch over and over, and that doesn't happen very often. And then when I compare that to Star Wars: The Last Jedi, I have not even seen it since the movie in the theaters. Whereas with Cobra Kai, I've already watched episode 1 probably 6 times now, and I've watched other episodes in the series multiple times. And that is a good sign, because for anyone who loves movies or shows that are their favorites, they'll probably go back and watch them over and over. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to number 3, and that is the characters themselves. They are really complex. And that's not something that I could say about Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Even for characters that have a long history, like Luke Skywalker, they don't really make him complex, or even Princess Leia. It's very surface level. But then when you think about Cobra Kai, Johnny Lawrence is an extremely complex character. He shows a range of emotions. He has real world problems. He's dealing with a lot of things, and it's not cookie cutter at all. And I could say something very similar for Daniel LaRusso's character, where he does go through an evolution as well, and he's also dealing with his own conflicts. And that's shown throughout this, but it's not so cookie cutter, and it's not force-fed into you. You really see glimpses and moments of their complexity, but at the same time, it allows you, the viewer, to actually be in the place of these characters. And that's, once again, that's a challenging thing to do. Whereas in Star Wars: The Last Jedi, I never really felt that complexity. It was so 2-dimensional. Whereas these characters are 3-dimensional. So let's go ahead and get to number 2, and that is the characters themselves. They stay true to the characters. They pay respect to these characters while at the same time building up new characters. And so I start off with Johnny Lawrence and then Daniel LaRusso. They really paid huge respects to these characters. They understand where these people came from. And then, not only that, but they also go through this change in a good way, because the characters that and love, they evolve. They do not stay the same. And then at the same time, they build up all these new characters. Miguel, Hawk, Sam, and all the other characters that surround them. They really build up these new characters so that whenever the seasons go on in other series, that you actually look forward to seeing them. Okay, so that is a huge thing. Whereas I really feel like in Star Wars: The Last Jedi, let's focus on Luke Skywalker. I really felt like they didn't respect Luke Skywalker for who he was and his place in the whole, Star Wars universe. He's super powerful. And not only that, he's gone through so many different things. However, whenever I watched Star Wars: The Last Jedi, I really didn't feel that they were paying respect to the old characters, whether it's Luke Skywalker, whether it's Princess Leia, whether it's Chewbacca, any of them. I really didn't feel that. And at the same time, the new characters, I honestly did not care about. Okay, and so that is a big thing whenever you are watching any form of entertainment, whether it's movies or TV series like these. You really do want to care about the characters, okay? And so what is the number one way that Cobra Kai is better than Star Wars The Last Jedi? That is, it took nostalgia and did it right. From the very opening scene where it shows the final Karate Kid 1 battle between Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence and that fateful crane kick, all the way to the music on here, right when Johnny Lawrence gets into his Pontiac Firebird, the same one from the 80s, and then he's playing Poison. I'm pretty sure it's Poison on there. And then later on, you hear Rat music from the 80s, and also references to the very first movie, Karate Kid 1, and also some references in Karate Kid 2, but it did it in a way that was respectful. It did it in a way that made you think, oh man, those were really iconic moments. That's why I love this movie. And then that's why, okay, I could get into this newer one, right? And so that nostalgia is done so well. And also the whole 80s parts as well. There's so many moments that if you were born in the 80s or you were a child of the 80s, then you would get it, okay? But whereas I watched Star Wars The Last Jedi, the nostalgia there, it's more like, hey, do you remember this? And then you remember when Luke Skywalker did this. You remember Yoda. You know, it's always those type of moments. And I really feel that's what a lot of movies do nowadays. That's what a lot of shows do nowadays, especially if they are beloved previous series, where they just go to moments back in these old shows that people loved and then just say, hey, you remember this. And I really feel that when you do it that way, it really cheapens the experience of the new one. And at the same time, it made me kind of like wish that I was watching the older one, you know, and that's always not a good thing. And so this is a rare case where Cobra Kai took nostalgia and it really helped build the characters, it helped build the story, and it just made it absolutely fun. And so that is it for my top 5 reasons why Cobra Kai is better than Star Wars The Last Jedi. This did so many things well, and I really look forward to season 2, and hopefully that they will continue this and grow upon this. And so if you have not seen my review of Cobra Kai or Star Wars The Last Jedi, I will leave that in the description area below. And so if you had any thoughts on this, whether you agree or disagree, or what are your thoughts on this new Cobra Kai series versus the Star Wars The Last Jedi? I'd like to know those as well. And so as always, if you did get value out of these videos, be sure to subscribe. And if you did want to support my channel further, you could do that at patreon.com/Geek Outdoors. Thanks for checking out this episode. And as always, if you like these videos, be sure to click on the subscribe button. And for full written content, audio content, and additional geek stuff, head over to geekoutdoors.com, and I'll see you outdoors on the very next episode.